Hi, and welcome to MQW Driving School YouTube channel. This video is about the show me tell me question. The examiner can ask you in the test. They ask you one question at the start of the test called as tell question, and they ask you one question while you're driving the test, which is we call a show question. We're going through these questions now and we're going to be very quick, but I'm going to show you some photos. We're taking this Corsa car as an example now, as to see show me tell me questions. Majority of the time the examiner maybe ask you the first question while you see them, while walking towards the car. You don't have to be in the car to give this answer because it's called a tell question. They're more likely to ask you something where you have to explain. So they ask you one tell question and one show question in the start of the test. So there are total 14 questions which you just need to go through, but try not to do it in the last minute of the test, because if you're too busy doing this and you just lose control of the car, you can get failed because of that. So for example, they ask you how you check your brakes are working fine before you start your journey. You simply can give the answer, then before start a journey I can press the brake and then I test my brake, my car is not pulling me to left and right, and it give me a firm pressure and my pedal is not spongy. So it can be any answer like that. So for example, question number 2. They can ask you that where you find the information for recommended tire pressure of this car. Simply say whatever the guidebook or manufacturer book tell me to fill up in this car according to my weight, I will go to the tire shop, I will do it. I will use the wall cap to unlock it, and then I will try to do in the morning time when the tires are cold. This is we call air gauge. You use the air gauge for the air check, which can be a tire shop, petrol pumps, and you don't forget about to close the valves, and you check all the tires including the spare tire. So third question. So how you know your head restraint is properly adjusted? You just say it should be behind my neck, adjust according to my height, center rigid part will be with my center of the eyes and the eyesight, and it should stop me in the case of emergency. That's called head restraint, and it should support you in the case of emergency. And if any of your passengers are not having it properly adjust, you try to adjust it. That's how you do according to the picture. You just say like that, use your hands. So that simply explain them like this. Then next question. So how you know your tire have sufficient tread depth and all the condition of the tires in good condition? You say it should not be less than 1.6 millimeter, all the 3/4 of the tires, and I will check the fully tire circumstances, all the lines. There should be no curtain bulges on the side of the tire like in this picture. This is called tire crests, and this is called tire bulge, which comes in a hot countries sometimes. And this is how you use the gauge to check your 1.6 millimeter thread, which is minimum, and you use all 3 lines. This is called 3/4. 1, 2, 3 lines. So you check all 3 lines, all should be equally used. And you check the whole tire for the curtain bulges, all circumstances of the tires. But you check all the tires including your spare tires. So next question. So next question is about, let's say, how you know your headlights and tail lights are working properly. You don't have to get out of the car for this. Just tell me or just explain me how you do it. First of all, you need to find out where the button is. Look for the light button, look for the light stick, which is normally next to your steering wheels or close to your steering wheels. And then sometimes you have to go for the ignition on a little bit. You look on the buttons. Some cars have an auto switch button. Sometimes you have to go to the tail light first. The small bulbs called tail, other one called dip lights, or also known as headlights. The next question is, how you know you have any problem with your anti-lock braking system, ABS? Simply say when you start the car, there's a light come on the dashboard which say ABS, anti-lock braking system, and if it's something wrong with it, it should be the light stay there. If everything is fine, light disappear. So that's how I know my anti-lock braking system is working fine, and that's the light comes on the dashboard say ABS. That's a different than your brakes test. Brake test is different, ABS is different. Next question. How you know your indicators are working of this car without even leaving the car. So you can press the triangle button of hazard lights, and then you can say that all the yellow bulbs or amber light bulbs, you press this hazard light warning, walk around the car, check all the bulbs are working properly, and say yes, I check it, it's all working properly. Different cars have different triangle. Look for the triangle. That's called hazard warning light triangles. Next question. Tell me how your brake light is working. Before it was how you know your brakes are working. Now is the brake light working? So number one answer, you can press the brake, ask someone help to tell you is working or not, or reverse the car back and see the shadow in some window or glass somewhere to see the brake lights are working. Evening time is the best. So that's your brake light, which is a red color light. You ask somebody help to stand at the back and or see the reflection like this in the window and tell them the brake light working fine. But make sure you don't use the reverse gear when they are standing behind you and start the car and hit them. Careful. That's how we bright light. Bright light means a brake light. So we got number 9. How you know your power steering is working fine? You say when the car is off, the steering wheel is very heavy when I turn left and right. When I start the car and then do a firm pressure on my steering and do left and right and give you a very smooth pressure, and all are working fine in my steering wheel, and it's a very gentle movement of my steering wheel is working fine. But before we do this, you make sure you know what's the word steering wheel. So that's your steering wheel. Just a joke. You do a firm pressure, turn left and right, and car give you a smooth power steering, work fine. But sometimes you have to start the car to do the check. Make sure you're neutral and handbrake on before you start. But examiner normally don't say you start, just explain them. Now tell me how you switch on your fog lights. Fog lights call as a secondary lights. First you have to switch on your dip light. So you go from normal light to tail light. From tail light you go to the dip light, headlight. Then you switch on these buttons. You got front fog light, you got back fog light. The orange is the back and green is the front. Some cars don't have the front, but orange is the main one. You should not be driving if you don't have the orange color light or no fog lights in your car. This is where you do it when visibility less than 100 meter. Sometimes you give the full answer to the examiner if he's happy to listen. Next question. How you go from dip light to high beams? So bit same question. You find out where the light stick is. Go from tail light to dip light. Then from dip light you push the stick towards your dashboard and switch on your high beam, which normally comes the blue color sign on your dashboard called headlights, high beam, full beam. You have to push forward or something towards you, depend on the model of the cars. But that's a sign you see on the stick. And that's the difference of dip light. It give you floor lights more, like down towards the floor, and high beam give you more straight lights. And it's not good to use straight light if you see someone coming from your front. Only use in a dark time when you are traveling alone, especially like country lanes. Next question. They maybe say you open the bonnet and tell me how you know you have sufficient engine oil in your car. So first of all, you need to know how you open the bonnet, how you find the catcher, how you stand the bonnet with the stick, and make sure do not touch anything. So first of all, you find the catcher. Every car have a different catcher. Ask your instructor where is the bonnet catcher, how you open the bonnet. What if they ask you and you don't know how to do it? You will get minor mistake then. Okay, so make sure you know this. Then you should know how to stand the bonnet. Where is the stick? Sometimes it's very heavy. Make sure you hold it with one hand and do not touch. It's hot because you're going to drive the car towards the test center. Definitely car going to be hot. So do not touch anything. Find your brake fluid, oil stick, which you call a dipstick, engine oil, windscreen reservoir. Find the catcher, find the stick where you have to pick the stick and stand the bonnet. This is called a dipstick. We also known as a ring stick. You take it out, wipe up, put back in, check again, minimum, maximum level, and that's how you explain them. That's I will find the dipstick, take it out, wipe, clean, put back in, check the level, minimum, maximum. When I check it, then I can tell I need to top up or not. Other question a bit similar is called under the bonnet questions. So for example, this time they're asking you how you know you have sufficient coolant in your car. Again, first of all, you need to find the catcher, open the bonnet, stand the bonnet with the stick, do not touch anything. It can be a hot water, coolant. You find the bottle of the coolant and look for the minimum and full level, like a markers of low and full, or minimum or maximum. And if you need it, you top up again. You wear some gloves, don't burn your hand, and do it in the morning time, cold time when you check. Otherwise, go to the garage or wait for the car to get cooled down. But you don't have to show this to the examiner. You just have to explain how you do it. Other question is again under the bonnet, finding this time the brake fluid bottle, and this also have minimum maximum level to find out. So let's say normally it's very close to the brake. So if you're driving the right hand driving, it should be right hand side. If you're driving the left hand driving, left hand side, depend which country you are in. Normally near the brakes. Okay, so where your steering is, your brake is there, and where the brake is, that's where the brake fluid will be. You check the minimum maximum level over there. So all this question is all about find the bonnet, find the catcher, stand the bonnet with the catcher, close it properly, because if it's not proper closely, you should not be driving your car. Now show me questions. This question is when you keep on driving and you know where the buttons are and how you operate them. It can be your horn, headlight, hazard light, wiper, demister. These are the questions. Let's start. How you wash and clean your front windscreen. So first of all, find where the wiper stick is. Then you maybe have to pull towards you and hold your hand for a few seconds. Then you get the wiper and water comes together. That's called front skin wiper wash and clean. Sometimes they ask you just to switch on the wiper only, and sometimes they ask you wash and clean. So don't get panic and keep finding it. Only do this when it's safe to do so. That's why you must know your buttons, wiper stick, demister and all that. If you use it every day, don't forget to top up your bottle each time. Somebody failed the test because they take the instructor car, and examiner asked them to wash and clean, and the instructor have no water for wash and clean, and they failed the test. So careful about it. Now back wiper. Again, back wiper on a button. Somebody have a button, some have a stick, but they ask you how you operate the back wipers, how you wash and clean the back wipers or back windscreen. Okay, they can ask you about this one. They can ask you how you switch on the lights, but again, this is not a very safe question, because when you switch on the light, people maybe think you're dipping them or giving them a flash. So if they have to ask you this question, more likely they will ask you as a tell question, not as a show question, because it can be dangerous to switch on the lights while driving, unless it's totally safe to switch on the lights and off the light and you're alone on the road. They can ask you about the demister, which can be the front and back. First of all, you have to find out where my demister buttons are in my car, and then the examiner will ask you operate the back one or front one. So this is the rear demister button. Look for the sign, and you should know how you press the horn. Very simple, only in the safe place. You don't have to beep it too much. You just touch it, little beep, little sound, that's enough. Okay, and do it when it's safe for you to do so. Little beep is enough. That's also called your show me question. Other question can be window up and down. Maybe they ask you to do window up and down. So should know your window up and down buttons if your car is not too old with the handle window up and down. So it can be front demister they can ask you, and they can ask you about the back demister. So be ready for both of the buttons. You have to tell them how you do the temperature up and down, or maybe fan up and down, on and off. Okay, so this question can also come in your test. But try not to use this button on the last minute of the test. I know many people talk about the show me tell me question just like 1 hour before the test or very last. So prepare early. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and like.